Chicago with a keyboard and some tea.
All right. It's Friday, August 8th, 9:03. The summer is winding down.
For plugins that go
We've got live. I like that. Okay. Hey, a successful start. 2 minutes late, but not too bad. Good morning, everybody. I see we've got a few folks in here. The extra 2 minutes didn't hurt. Everybody say hello, please. Hello, hello. Let me know if the sound is good. I'll put this up today on the new show comments on stage option. I'm going to see how that works out. Also, got a couple other tchotchkes that I can share with you guys, but definitely please let me know if the sound and the video is good for you so we can start today. Today, I'm actually going to focus on some conversations that happened this week about the business, the new business that is available. Good morning, Dr. Krieger. All right, fantastic. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a little verbal, then we're going to go and I'm going to go back into the screen for sharing. But I really want to talk about the business model because what we have available to us now is essentially, I use the term, good morning, Sharon. I use the term like a nice multi-level marketing. It's a nice Herbalife. So here's the basic concept. The basic concept is that most of all of my audience is either using WordPress and the solutions that I've helped to create for themselves, for their own business, or they're using it for clients. And they're acting as either you could call it an agency or you could call it a pseudo agency, call it a WordPress implementer. And over all of these years, literally since day one, I have been in the business of just providing solutions for the problems, regardless of the tools. So it doesn't and never has mattered to me that we were using back in the old days Ning and then Social Go and then the early WordPress and then WordPress, hand coding and all the other things. And we just keep moving up the chain with the new technology. Good morning, Anne. The important thing to take away is I am always focused, and I think you should be focused on the solution or the outcome that you for your business or your clients for their business are needing. I had several calls yesterday, one of which was with Dr. Krieger, who has been with me, as he said, for 6 years and has seen the evolution of this. The other was with some new prospective clients that might be ending up using the services. What I was able to do was have a live phone call with these human beings. They expressed some details about how their operations were running. And it was through that conversation that they sort of dropped the kimono. They pulled back the curtain. They showed what's behind the Wizard of Oz and revealed that they have a business that really, truly could benefit from the kinds of things that I have available. But had I not been focused on the outcomes, but instead was just, tell me what kind of sandwich you want me to make, I would have never had the opportunity to express to them these new possibilities. But here's the neat thing. The multi-level marketing part, the nice Herbalife is, if you don't think of Herbalife, if you think of a Costco or you think of a restaurant, is that there's an entire audience of people who are clients of maybe a business that is a client of one of you as an implementer. And you are a client technically of me. Now, just like in Costco, if you've ever been there, you find some of the greatest brand items in the world. Maybe there's Hellmann's mayonnaise in a 15-gallon jug, of course. But eventually, if enough people who go to Costco want Hellmann's, they will maybe do a licensing deal and turn it into Kirkland. And now Costco is selling Kirkland get 2 tubs of 7.5 gallons each of the same mayonnaise. And the pricing is a wholesale, retail, consumer level thing. Now, Costco obviously offers great pricing to the consumer, almost like a wholesale, but we all know it's not really wholesale. It's sort of warehouse wholesale. Good morning, Lloyd. And the business model there is interesting to me because there's a similarity to what I'm going to share with you here, which is up until literally the last couple weeks, months maybe, but weeks, there have been millions of outcomes that people want, but they just can't have. because the time, the complexity, obviously the cost, the developmental structure, all of that stuff was just too high of a mountain to climb for it to be practical to give out on a consumer level, on a retail level, and even at the wholesale level. I mean, to go into the business of offering a service like we're going to talk about today, some of the things I'm doing with like Ann's thing or Dr. Krieger we talked about, they were just financially impractical, time-wise impractical. You would have just gone on what I used to call, we had a word for it, it was called a death march business. Cheers for some coffee. A death march was when I was Spence, the evil genius, and my partner and I would talk about one of the ideas that somebody would come to us with. We would always say, is that practical or is it a death march? Into the desert with limited supplies, you're going to get 15, 20 miles into there, realize you don't have enough food, water, supplies to make it to the other side of the desert. And like Lawrence of Arabia, you're going to end up drinking from some guy's well who's going to shoot you right there on the spot. So the bottom line is, you want, in the case of today's world, to be now more observant of what your audience has as a need, or what the business world has as a need, or what you could do or complete as an outcome. Why? Because I now have a system, not that dissimilar to like the Costco thing, where anything you need or want could be manufactured and put into a device that's not only available for you to use for your business where everybody comes to your website, but it could also be living inside of the devices of the people who are your own audience members. And it even goes farther than that. Because let's say, for example, and trust me, I'm going to map this out. Somebody comes with a great idea upstream to me. I build it into this new operating system / MinuteLaunch Ai running on WordPress. There is now a tool that the intermediary, you, could sell to, let's say it's somebody who's a nutritionist or a health practitioner. You could sell it to one or more nutritionists or health practitioners who each have their own clients, who each may have a benefit of buying and using the software and the device on their own mobile devices or laptop, desktop, and so forth. But here's where it gets even weirder. Let's say that practitioner now has something to sell. They now are not just consuming your thing from you that you got from me that I built for everybody based on an idea, but they might actually be able to generate their own products to sell directly inside of the devices of their own patients, such as maybe there's supplements, maybe there's services. So what you've got is this, what I call the multi-level marketing. Herbalife and those other multi-level, there was always the top goes to the next level, 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 goes to the next level. The difference here, why I say it's nice multi-level marketing, is I don't have any conception of reaching my hand down through the levels where each level has to support the next. That's unfortunately a Ponzi scheme where nobody makes money unless you get more people to participate. But rather, I do see a situation where there's a nice and a holistic and an honest multi-level thing where each of the people in the chain who use the systems can both peer-to-peer interact, go upstream, but the development cycle can also be, and I'm going to talk about this today, suggestive. So yesterday on a goof, Dr. Krieger and I were talking about one of the tools that he uses, and I'm going to show you this. It was Airtable. Airtable is a very, very, very popular tool for those who would like to use more power than they get out of something like Google Sheets. And Dr. Krieger has been using it for managing his WooCommerce products and some of his sales and some other data. But the point is, it has tons of users. It has an API. It has an MCP. It has the ability for us to connect it directly into this entire system to do things that might be very useful. For example, Dr. Krieger might want to use it to take data from the Airtable, make them into custom post types, or take data from WordPress and put it up into Airtable to be part of a calculation or a display. We were able to build, in the course of us chit-chatting about this, that, and the other, a full-blown application. And when I say application, I mean it was built using the stuff under the hood that I've been talking to you about endlessly. And so it's solid, it's stable, it's WordPress, it's accessible, even if the things like the AI and stuff were turned off. But what it was really revealing to me is we have a product. Like as quickly as somebody makes a suggestion, we have a product. And that harkens back to the early days, as I mentioned, with Spence, the evil genius, because we had 12,500 people on Ning who would just say, I need this, I want that, I need the other thing, it doesn't exist. And we would build lists. And so today I'm going to reveal, let me go and I'm going to share my screen. Today I'm going to reveal, I'm going back to that level with these new things, because what I think I can do is I want every one of you and all of your clients and all your clients' clients to get a $250 a year relationship with me, with something that is dead bang awesome, with incredible power and things that they couldn't imagine being able to do. But to take a journey with me on this adventure, and to participate in it, I'm going to provide something that I don't know the name I'm going to call it, but like an advent calendar for MinuteLaunch AI, which is, it's 365 days. Probably it's going to be 5 days a week, not 7. I'm going to use the tool to build the tools that people suggest they want built dynamically, so that anybody, whether it's your level or below, could have these things for getting on board with what the MinuteLaunch has to offer. And this has a multitude of benefits, and we'll talk about it in a second. Number one, I've never had better ideas than those that come from the real world. Remember, I started by saying I build outcomes. If you need a 16-inch hole dug in your backyard, I don't care what tool is used. It's the outcome that matters to me. If you're going to pay for that hole to be dug and I figure out a way to get it dug without any extra work, that's the best answer, right? Because you needed the hole. You'll pay me to get the hole dug. Similarly here, if I get as many people as possible subscribed to using the platform, I get not only the feedback of how well it works, but then I can give them the chance, instead of paying me $5,000 development fees and stuff, I can give them the chance to put their ideas into the public space of the other people who are going to do this. And everybody's buy-in is just $250. That's it for a hosted MinuteLaunch AI. It doesn't change any of the other stuff we're doing. It doesn't change the high-end stuff. This is just a special for all of you too, even if you're a member of my other stuff. This is a way for us to get everybody into a thing where all of the ideas can be put forth, and they will be publicly, using my tool here, created, displayed, voted upon, floated up. And then I'm going to have my systems actually create the daily content based upon what's the item that floats up to the top today, which includes building the actual app, putting it into a place where anybody who is participatory gets to have that and use that with no extra cost. And it will create the content where you can see how it's made. So in other words, it will make the videos, post the videos, do the emails. I'm going to be building an extension of the factory that I've already been building, so that all of you can participate both at the receiving end as well as at the, like, how does this work end? And I think in this process, with if I get 10 people or I get 1,000 people or I get 20,000, whoever many number of people sign up, it will allow me to accelerate the process of building the solutions better, because everybody will be vested, even for a small amount of money, in the outcome, right? And the outcome right now is really zipping along. So let's go to the screen. I have to do a little screen share here. Hold on. And I'm really loosey-goosey today, so bear with me. Hi, I'm Lucy. Hi, Lucy. I'm Goosey. All right, let me remove this and add this. And let me go into big mode. It's the special mode here called big mode. I have a lot of junk on the screen too, and I'm going to turn off the special show comments on stage for the moment. Okay, let me put you guys into context here, because I don't know where I'm at. Here's the admin side. I am very happy to show a lot of stuff. When we left off last week, we were talking about the idea that the MinuteLaunch AI is essentially a front end that acts like any other mobile device or desktop and so forth. And so it allows one to automatically and dynamically create applications that run with icons on a desktop type space. It's fully mobile responsive, as you would expect, and it works on any device. let's take a pause for a moment and reflect upon what the hell that means to everybody. Last week, I talked about, and in many conversations, I said, why are we so locked in our heads that for website stuff, we have to use browser metaphors of scrolling up and down the screen with tabs and all the other buttons and accoutrements, when for much, much longer, we have had operating systems with desktops, and for a significant amount of time, mobile devices, similarly with desktops. In other words, why do we need to lock ourselves and our clients into the concept that every time they come to our website or do anything, they have to see a stupid web page? Why? I mean, not stupid like it's stupid, but like if we go to this unicorn page, it's this stupid company, WP Launchify. Why does everything have to look like this? It doesn't. So step one, you'll notice we can still show good old-fashioned website pages. That's fine. We can still do that. But as a metaphor, when you give a 80-year-old woman or man, like my parents or something, a device like this, my mom is grooving on her iPhone. Okay. She's making it work. She has a lot of trouble going to a website and browsing through menus and submenus and stupid shit. Like we do not need parallax in 2025. We need stuff that allows people to go fast. I've given this interface to dozens of you and anybody I can see, and I've tried it on my mobile, tried it on a desktop. This just continues to work all the time. It really does. And whether it's a fancy app or it's an AI interface, okay, it just works. It's easy, right? And when you're talking about things like being able to talk into it or whatever, right? List products between 200 and 500. It's not hard for somebody to understand what to do when they're just presented with a box that says start talking, submit a command, and oh, here's what I needed on your website. Like that's a shit ton easier than the metaphor of I got to go to the shop menu and then I got to scroll down and I got to use 2 fingers and I got to, all that stuff is too hard. Okay. All right. So next, we've got an interface here, and now we've got a way to escape the gravity of the WordPress legacies when it comes to themes, intermediary tools, page builders. Mullenweg made an amazing system where everybody can build anything, but then he just abandoned the flea market. And the result is that a few bad actors have just taken off and done crazy stuff that makes most of the stuff that you and I have to do as owning a site on this side of things, on the back end. Living nightmare, because if you're not using the tools like what I do in the regular MinuteLaunch with the software and the MinuteLaunch manager, you can have just a living hell trying to set stuff up. Even just as simple as putting a product together could be a nightmare because there's banners and advertisements and things interfering and like updates and this. I need this extension and I can't install this extension without that extension. And all of you know, when you've given over a WordPress site, even with 2 plugins in it, to your clients, they immediately break the hell out of things. They immediately go to this. They go to the homepage of WP Launchify. They become paralyzed. Okay, like this unfortunate business person here. Okay, so wouldn't it be cool if we escaped the gravity of this and we just say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to use the under the hood components, the IKEA parts, and we can build everything on top of those. But to get to those and to give to our clients those and the clients' clients those, we can do everything on the front end. Why wouldn't we? Right? So on the front end, using, let's say, here's the nutrition tracker. I'll come to this too. We can not only have it literally self-generate all the sales page stuff for itself, but we can go and have all of the settings nice and neat inside of the front end. And I can do this with the factory now in a matter of minutes, as I showed with Dr. Krieger. I'll come back to this. So for example, Carrie had said to me, let's build something that connects to Airtable, blah, blah, blah. I said, give me what exactly you mean. He gave me a couple extra words. And then I went ahead and built something that, let me see, I didn't put it on the front end. I'm going to actually show you how to connect it from the back end to the front end. So we installed that on the back end, and I have not given it a front end app yet. So let's give it a front end app. The way we do that at the moment, which will also be fully automated, is we simply find what thing we want to use. In this case, the Airtable tool, I think I put here. Let me just double check that I actually put it in place, because I was using two sites and I may have set it up on its own demo. Hold on one second. I just want to find if it's on this one. I think it's on here. So let's just see if we got it inside of Fluent Snippets. It's called the Airtable connector. There it is. Okay, so it is here, and I'm quite sure we put it together where it's just a page where we used a shortcut, short code, but we will use an endpoint. So let's find the page that I did it on, which I think it's probably going to call it Airtable. And here, Airtable Magic. Okay, so let's first of all, let's just view the page, because there were some short codes that we were using to build this. And all I'm trying to say to you is, here's the AI-powered Airtable query. If I copied that URL, I would just go ahead and make a new application with its own really cool icon. And this would be something that you could give or have automatically created for your client. If I go over here to plugin interface, we're going to add a new app. And let's just use the tools we got. So we're going to put the URL in of where that's at, or we could just choose it as a plugin. And we'll say the magic of Airtable queries. And what I like to do here is we'll give it the name Airtable Magic. And when I publish it, we can actually create either an icon or use Airtable. Let's use one of the tools that is also available that will be part of this experience. So remember last week on Friday, those of you who were here, I went ahead and I showed you I can either grab icons directly, or I can use the new Media Hub tools to scrape a new image. Let's grab something that represents Airtable, right? So Airtable, and I can go various sizes, and I can go royalty free or not, but let's just grab something for our purposes. That's their icon. So let's save that image. And now what's cool is I don't have to mess around, because when I make the application, I could just choose that immediately. That feature there is a great example of extending just a teeny tiny bit into making a tool that just makes your life infinitely easier. Because whether it's an icon or a product you scraped, or an image you borrowed, or something you shared with the Media Hub, I now was able to make an application that will go to what Dr. Krieger and I built in a couple minutes, Airtable Magic. Now, there was 3 ways this would work. I'm only going to just show you this by way of example. This was an AI interface. The button colors need to be a little different. They're down here. But what this did is it allows you to ask of their sample data any questions about Airtable, and it will return the results, right? Show me all the tables in my base, or get recent records. And there was another one that listed out the data that it would pull from Airtable. This is something that you could give to a client, white label branded to yourself. So let's take a pause moment and talk about the business of what I'm showing you. Imagine a situation where you have between 5 people and 50,000 customers, and you have a business with has products and services and needs and wants. And those clients all have to do the things that they do, both with your site and on their own. You now have an ability for them to say to you, gee, I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. And you pass it upstream, and I can have, with this factory, the ability to build something into a tool nearly immediately, which then gets passed down to you either to run on your site, or your clients can get it. And your clients can buy them a la carte, or they can rent them from you, or they can rent them from me, or buy them from me. The idea is we can have any number of ways to create stuff that runs on any of these devices, and you can be either in the middle of the technology sale and management, or you can be completely out of it. You know, there's lots of people who use iPhones and they have apps created that they don't sit there and manage the update and technology of it. They don't manage the iPhone installations. They just provide really cool stuff that connects to, you know, their doctor's office or whatever. So that was one example. Here's another thing that came from our conversation. We were talking about not just, and by the way, Dr. Krieger runs Save the Frog. So, you know, like here's his own website, which again, I'm just showing you it's easy to take any content from anywhere that's traditional and just pop it in there. But we also talked about the idea he really hassles, and I agree with him. What if you just really instantly wanted a one-page application for a client that allowed them to have essentially, I'm Susie Smith, and here's my latest posts, because it was a marketing effort, and maybe take in an email. Enter the blog showcase. We just instantly created an app. Now, what does this do? This is a one-stop pony that was created in what? Dr. Krieger, tell us, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, where I just gave it a set of instructions into my factory. My robotic team, like elves, went, and they spit out this thing that essentially allows faceted search of any blog posts along with a customizer for just this screen, so that somebody at the level of his client, or like my mom, when logged in as the administrator, can set up the way they want it to display. And the users now get faceted search, right? So if they want to search for Beatles, we've now got faceted search. We've got beautiful formatting. This required zero setup of a tool like Facet WP or Custom Post Types UI. It required zero cadence. We didn't have to make blocks or anything. It's fully mobile responsive. It looks gorgeous, and we can change it either with the tools that we built in or tell it to change the tools. Why is this different? This is different because now it's an example of an interface to content that we have where we don't have to use the page builders. We don't have to use the custom tools. We don't have to do anything. This snippet exists as a specialty plugin, and the specialty plugin itself will run any way it wants, but I'll show you on this screen here. I've been building tools for everybody to use, one of which is called the plugin tester. The plugin tester will later be called the App Store Manager, is essentially a way that any kind of software that we want to write to run, which, by the way, under the hood is still WordPress software, can be created, uploaded, tested, packaged, saved, sold, shared, but separate, notice, from the normal WordPress plugin stuff. Why? Because I'm able to bypass all of the politics, the shenanigans, the nonsense of Mullenweg and the rest of them by still making stuff that works with WordPress, but by having the entire management system, delivery system, share system, sales system do those things I just talked about, which is, what if somebody in this community says, I want to have a specialty tool made? We can make that and offer it for free or for sale, for lease, whether they're involved in the transaction as an affiliate or if they're directly selling it, because it's going to run on a system where we now control all manufacturing, all of the marketing, all of the distribution. But we do it in a way that's legacy compatible. So like the Nutrition Tracker Pro Enhanced for Anne will run as a normal plugin, but it runs better if we put it in the system, because one of the things about this is that process I just showed you of, let's say, manually creating a front-end app, that will be just built into the process. So when you have a created endpoint piece of software, when you install it, it'll just give you all those interface items, and 99% sure when you hold down your button on this thing, it will say rearrange on the screen, click on this desktop, it'll allow you to customize the screen, but it'll also allow you to administratively edit the title or the image. Instead of even going on the back screen like I showed you locked in, it's going to allow these other things. This is all 3, 4, 5 minutes away. I mean, I'm building like crazy, so I'm going to show you some more stuff. Here's the beauty of this. Doesn't matter what Lloyd asks, what about generating interfaces for Android apps? If you guys go to this interface, you may be able to see and do more than you're supposed to, but you should see this just perfectly fine on Android. I mean, I have an iPhone. God forbid I would use an Android. That would be crazy. Hold on one second. So let me put that up here. MLA voice. Okay. You know, it looks and works perfect. I don't know if you're seeing this. If I turn it sideways, it'll adjust. the point is, this is why we're doing it this way. There is no reason to have a distinction between mobile devices, desktop or laptop anymore. No reason whatsoever. Okay, let me show you a couple other ideas, because the concept that I'm talking about now is that we can make instantly tools. I am creating this thing where I'm going to send an announcement to all of you, or you can just click and join it, where if anybody joins the new offer, I'm going to show you this in a second in more detail, but if anybody goes to the page and joins the MinuteLaunch AI, this is going to have a special sales page, the $250 a year. It's going to be like the MinuteLaunch foundational club or advent calendar. I don't know what the hell I'm going to call it, but it's separate from everything you're doing. So I am asking something more from you guys. Every day, there's going to be the submissions from anybody. You don't have to submit every day, but everybody can submit any ideas for anything they want built. And it will have a list that will be, again, built with this tool, shown in the mobile device, shown here, that will show which things are more popular. And then that day, the top list item will be taken by my robotic tools, turned into the app, tested, and then I will make videos, a combination of like fully automated videos as well as me live, because I think me being involved is still the fun part of it. And by the end of the year, we're going to have something that is, I think, crazy. I think it's going to have tens of thousands of users. Why? Because the more we do this, the more we can build for folks on the fly. Like, for example, Anne has got this idea of the Nutritify feed. I'm not revealing too much here because it's her thing. She wants to do research for a specific area, perimenopausal nutrition and stuff. And we need to set this up specifically for a business model idea. So I'm having the factory build it. Anne has a group of people that will buy this, that will use it, that will subscribe to it. I've already shown you last week the Nutritify tracker we built for her, which I think is awesome for me even, which allows me on a daily basis to search for foods, right? So ribs I had last night, and I can put it in and keep track of my entry, keep track of my diet. The other ones, we're working on some things for Fred, like the school system reporting. This one itself, the morning report or the newsletter, are fabulous because they're the ones that, like, right now form the foundation of everything. For myself, I'm working on this MinuteLaunch WooCommerce. Now, what is this? Oh, I have it turned off at the moment. I'm going to tell you what this one is. This is one where I was in Twitter and the head of product, Mike Jolly, no, it's not Mike Jolly anymore. Sorry. I'm having a brain fart. I'm going to go to Twitter. There was an idea about, like, what can we do with WooCommerce, right? And I responded. So I'm going to share with you my nonsense Twitter feed. James Kemp had asked a question of, like, what can we do to make something better in WooCommerce? Now, James and I know each other directly, but the point is the actual post itself, I just gave him a list. I'm like, here's what you need: a way to generate instant products, type, price, title, feature description, simple dash output, whatever. And I'm talking to the guys at WooCommerce to try to see if they'll make it. But in the meantime, I'm like, maybe I'll just make this myself and get on with it. So let me see. Actually, I'm going to take the plugin code that my team here has been working on. I'm going to go inside, show you under the kimono what's happening at the moment. Right now, there's still the matter of me doing manually placing things into Fluent snippets. Why am I using Fluent snippets? I'm doing this right now just so I can control the flow and also kind of control, you know, if stuff crashes, it doesn't take the whole system down with me. But one of the reasons I'm building my own plugin manager and tester is so that I don't have to rely upon that plugin. We can just get that kind of out of the way. All right. So I'm going to go over here to MinuteLaunch WC, and I'm going to put this new code in that was just updated. And I'm not sure if this actually works, which is part of the reason that at the moment I want to have a group of you guys and your clients throwing me a million things to try. The more I try, the better it gets. The better it gets, the better you all feel. So I started building this, which is, hopefully it'll show now. There we go. This is the MinuteLaunch WooCommerce engine. A billion times I have said to you guys, there's no reason to be struggling with the back end of WooCommerce. All we need is a way to generate that product link, right? The one that's available now default through WooCommerce or through launch flows, so that we can associate it to anything. Many of the other products, like I've shown you earlier, such as the Media Hub, allow you to create an instant product. But I wanted a more universal tool. And I don't know if this is going to work, but imagine if you could just go like this interface and go, my new product, okay? And it's $100, and it's either one-time or subscription or a variable. And then it's about products. Okay, this is absurd, but I'm just saying, imagine this creates the product and it exists and it allows you to essentially have it, sell it, share it, and do whatever. I don't think this is functional yet because my team has not worked out the solution. There's also the ability here to use AI. So again, we already have AI connected. Why not be able to have AI just go ahead and enhance whatever you're doing here? But the whole point is, this is now a tool that takes the infinite complexity and million menus of that WooCommerce product screen and turns it into something very tamed. You can, of course, give me real text. But right now, unfortunately, it's still, and I think it's because there's an error on this console. This particular plugin I started writing last night. This is where you see there's a few errors in here from something. And so what I would typically do is I'm going to take this, and while we're talking, I'm going to copy the console, and I'm going to say, still has errors in console, and create product doesn't work. I know you can't see what I'm doing. I'm just giving it to my tool on the side. In the meantime, I do want to show you the origin of this, Dr. Krieger, because we had this over here. If we were to use our command interface, which we had previously tested and used, we already have the ability to create products. And I did this for Dr. Krieger before, but I can do this. Watch. Create a product about using AI to make products with WooCommerce. Make it 6 paragraphs long, priced at $132. Okay. We already have the ability with the AI engine to create the product. What I wanted to do is have a simplified human interface so that for your customers who don't want to necessarily talk to the thing, it will still be able to be usable, but they don't have to go on the back end, which is my bigger picture, to use all that old-fashioned nonsense. Anne asks, how flexible are app collaborations? Can creators decide to keep their apps private, share them public? Yes, that's a great question. So I want to do a little whimsical while that's processing. What I want to do, before we do it, wait, it's ready. It just came out of the oven. Let's go, look at what it created. Now, again, this is just an example, but I'm saying it creates the whole product, okay? This AI, which is awesome, but they're $132, the whole thing. But maybe there's people who just want to have something as a hybrid in between, right? That was that point. Let's go to whimsical with Anne, her question. I'm going to just create a new board here. So Anne is asking about collaboration. So first of all, let me just say, here's what I envision. WP Launchify. And right now, let's just style like that. Right now, clients of mine, they're either going to buy right now $250 a year or $25 a month. They're going to do $970 a year or $97 a month. The difference between those two is the $97 or $970 has the full software bundle and access to me directly for support in email. The $25,250 does not, but it still has the tool and it has the hosted server. And then there's this other one, which is sort of besides the point, but there's all of the custom packages above, but it's agency, which is $297 a month or $29.70, and that's for 10 sites. Okay. For this, each of your clients, your clients, they're probably going to want the $25 a month or $250 a year. But they could also do the full-blown 97 a month or 970 a year. Let's do some quick math first of all. And I notice that's covering up. If you wanted to have clients with their own sites versus you sending your clients to buy from me. When clients buy from me, that 97 a month or 970 pays you a reasonably large commission, right? It's $20 a month or $200 a year for doing nothing. You can do all your services with that client, but you can just essentially sit back and don't do anything. You could get the agency plan, $29.70 a year or $297 a month, get 10 sites. That's effective cost of $29.70 a month. Okay, that's your cost. And just sell directly to your clients, $97. That's giving you like $60 profit by just putting them into your own agency account. And you get some other benefits from that as well. So the first thing I want to say is like, you can decide to what extent to be participatory in the technology and doesn't want to be. Let's talk about the apps. If we have apps, these are possibly included in there, but they also may be on the side. Okay. So I'm going to do here apps. Get on there. Okay. Apps. I don't know what I'm going to sell these for. Probably 25 a year to unlimited. These can be bought one time directly from me, but you could also create these or participate with me to create these and sell them yourself. Why? The framework will run whatever app is built on it. They're just plugins. Get your question out of the way. Okay, sorry. So let me also make this a little smaller. So when an app is created, it does not matter that it's run like from my server, your server, because we're not running it on a server. It's a plugin. If we create something for you or for your clients, it could be they paid one time to MinuteLaunch Ai, or they paid you one time, or they pay me recurring subscription, or they pay you recurring subscription, or it could be they buy the app from you and I make it and there's a fee or something involved, but they get it and they own it in perpetuity. The idea is that the plugin itself can have a different wrapper depending on what business you want to do. This is absolutely essential to this idea. In the old world of Microsoft and Bill Gates, they used to license software on a disk. Remember? Floppy disks, and then it was like little hard disks, and then it was CD-ROMs. You've got mail. Okay, that was because their business model of licensing required them to distribute these disks, and these disks had keys and all of this aggravation. Well, now we have SaaS products, and we have a way to do this electronically, dynamically. But there is still the business model that somebody could either buy once, buy annually, or license. What we have is now a model that we escape from Mullenweg's contraption here, but still use the best of WordPress. We don't have to go through the repository. We don't have to worry about keys and everything. I'm able to build a peer-to-peer sales system. Any person can make anything that runs on anyone else's device, and they could be the one who sell it. So let's take this even downstream. Your client could have a great idea, and we could build a custom app for them that they sell to their clients. Quite literally, clients of clients buying stuff or apps. This is where the whole weird multi-level thing comes in. This client, let's say, is a nutritionist. They've got a bunch of supplements that are white label manufactured through one of the things that we create. And they want to actually not be in the business of doing that. We can set them up like with this practitioner model. This is something I'm doing with Stuart and probably with Ann as well. This practitioner model is essentially a concierge setup. It's a one-time fee. If this is the way they want to do it, $5,000 setup and then $1,250 a month. But what it allows is for them to have their entire business, marketing, every single aspect of running the thing taken care of for them at a concierge level. Now, obviously, they still have to run their business. But the idea is they can have custom applications, all the various features, white label branded, owned and controlled, and make a profit of actually selling additional apps. What the hell are you talking about, Spence? Well, let's go back to here and we talk about just a few of the apps we've got, like the mood tracker. Okay. I made it a little goofy and silly, but for goodness sake, everybody can understand that this is a necessary like component of anybody who has a practice, so that their clients or patients every day can say, I did this, felt this, wanted this, right? Like, I'm feeling really groovy right now. Okay. And they go, look, I've saved my mood. And now, because that practitioner has access to the mood report generator, or directly it sends the data, they can help to provide better consultation for that patient. You could do the same thing with the other tools here, the morning report generator, the nutrition tracker, even the Tranquil app. All of these things are components that you can easily imagine somebody who is a practitioner saying, holy mackerel, you're saying to me that I can essentially, I'll go here to whimsical, I can offer a whole custom business and all those fancy apps. Did you know, by the way, that Calm made $500 million last year for reals? What was revenue of Calm app last year? I think it's $541 million or something. Let's see. $596 million for an iPhone app that, sorry, we basically can offer to your practitioner to offer. You know, they're a therapist and they want to offer these services. They want to offer an AI therapist or something that allows their patients to upload their medical records and images, have it translated, and tell the doctor before the actual consultation what it is that's going on. You get where I'm going, right? So these are the kinds of things that, imagine, because it's here, you can go out and be my sales team, and then you create an army of clients who become your sales team. And each step along the way, everybody participates. John has a question. Dynamic product creation and pricing for an individual based on transcript of a meeting. Absolutely. Let's do an example of this. Let's say, I think I understand you correctly, but I'm going to use one of my other toys here, Claude. Hello, Claude. Give me a one-paragraph summary of a made-up meeting between two people that talks about product pricing and a few details. Just keep it one paragraph long, super simple, and be imaginative. This is the fake meeting with John's clients and stuff, okay? Okay. Now, imagine, because I'd have to process this, I would say, take this and turn it into a simple command that says, make a product with this price about this subject. Okay. I'm just giving an example of how this might work, because the semantical engine that I have as interface will do certain things, but right now I have not programmed it to take a lump of coal like that. But if I just pasted this in, let's see what it does. Oh, it didn't do the one. It needs to say, see, that's the thing. It doesn't say price. I'm saying it doesn't say product. It has to say make a product. So let's reset this. But the concept is, with my semantical engine, what I'm writing into it is the ability to understand a variety of commands. So make a product about, okay. Now it'll make a product. So it's semantical engine means I'm writing something so that the AI tool can understand, what do you want me to do about which type of thing I have control over? Do I go out to the outside world or use the stuff you told me here? Do you want me to think about this or just do stuff? And the reason that that's important is because it's like talking to a 13-year-old kid, a boy. I have two young men and one teenager. And if I am not really super specific, I do not get the results I want. So I have to write a semantical engine, like a semantical parenting instruction manual on how to get things done. So this created a product, right? Now, John, with that extra detail, you can imagine very quickly how it would flush it out. But essentially, that's what's going on. We have a tool that will be internal that will create the product based upon whatever was discussed at the price discussed. And there's different versions of this as well. So I'm writing the various semantical components to save and share the output from one particular common engine. That will make it better. So here is, I showed you guys this last week and I showed you this morning. Here's like a newer version of this that has some additional kind of tools like you'd find in Notebook LM or you'd find them in Claude. Like I can browse past conversations. I can search for past chats, or I could give it the same information I just gave it. I can attach a document, upload it, and so forth. I can even have it code if I want. All right. So back to this model, just to wrap this part of it. Where I'm saying on the business of this is, you now are all salespeople. But instead of thinking like, what am I selling? Oh, I'm selling a WordPress site that this really smart person is going to frustratingly hit the wall, never doing anything in the back end. Or, oh, they don't need another website. They got a billion websites. Instead, what are you going to be in the business of? I'm putting you in the business of being able to deliver the world of tomorrow today at a price point that is at $250 for this first year, which includes what is going to be the ability to have people submit their, I wish I could have this, I wish I could have that, because anything that is asked for, I could potentially build using my tools. I have a robot army here set up and I'm building it so that even inside of this device, we'll see where I go with that, people will be able to build their own applications from inside of the tool. That is totally conceivable because the tools themselves can code. I've started to program this semantical engine, and I told you I had some frustration with it because last Friday I was in a different mode, but this technically is able to code. And if you're able to give it a simple set of instructions about what you want, it will be able to deliver that code to the plugin manager, which makes it into an application. Ta-da! And then save, share, sell it, do whatever. So, I mean, technically, create a WordPress single file plugin for Hello World. I'm not sure if this is going to work because the semantical engine is not set up for this yet, but it might. It can. It's just a question of me programming it, by the way. So let's see what it does. It needs a second. Okay, and it actually did it, which is fabulous. So you'll see I asked it to create a single file plugin. I could copy it or download it, but there will be a button here instead of download that will be like, turn this into an app into my library. Ta-da! But you see, at the back end, all of the stuff that's created can be saved and shared in a universal way, which means that if somebody makes for their business an app that runs on their own device, there's going to be a distribution model. They could get it out to their teammates or to their clients, or they could send it upstream where we might be able to put it into a more publicly facing library. Okay. So just to sum up this part, because this is the essence of today's conversation, what I'm getting at is I think the best way for me to really rock and roll this is instead of willy-nilly, you know, and Dr. Krieger, I see you have a handbag, so we can do that. Instead of willy-nilly doing this, what we can end up doing is essentially having input from all of you and all of your clients and everybody else who wants to sign aboard that can build the actual system, including the components, in a way that's both fun and democratic and really costs very little, because, you know, to get to this thing first would otherwise be like get in line or pay $5,000. In this way, I can have it democratically be those people who have joined this club for $250 for the whole year will get something like 250 self-contained pieces of content and apps, and will have some ability to put a good idea in that other people can vote on that gets built faster than the other ones. You can use it with everybody, but the catch is, and this is the catch, this is the multi-level marketing. They're going to need to pay $250 to me to get into the club. Okay. So what I'm saying is, let's scroll down to this. Let's also get rid of this extra. We don't need that much. Okay, let's say the new MinuteLaunch AI club. Okay, it's $250 one time for next 365 days. Yes. So, and we'll come back to your question, but let's just put this over. 1, anyone can submit any number of ideas for apps or features. 2, anyone has to have their own account, right? You know, hosted with software. 3, anyone can vote on anyone's ideas to float them to the top. 4, any of these can be turned into custom versions. Yes. Let's talk about it. Yes and no. What I'm saying is, if somebody wants to be able to submit ideas, if somebody wants to have something custom built, if they want to have access to that for themselves, then they need to pay. If you on your device have one of these things and they use it, no, they don't have to pay. That's comparable to, like I was just showing a moment ago, like for Dr. Krieger, you know, we made, well, any of these, you could have a mood tracker, or any of these can run on your network, John, and anybody can use them. But there's some things like the mood tracker. Let's be honest, I don't really necessarily want to be posting daily things about my mood on John Lawler's server. I want to have it on my box that I own and control. That's one of the primary benefits of this. The nutrition tracker, technically, I could use it as a member and just have it all hosted on your thing, but I don't think that's an appropriate use case. I think they need to have their own box. That's kind of the whole idea here. If I have my own box, I can have my own AI engine with its own persona that's trained on me and my data, versus having to have a global AI engine that goes to each user's account and differentiates stuff that's stored for them. Is that technically possible? Yes. Is that really the better way to go? I don't think so, because the whole idea is it'd be better for the client of yours or a patient of a doctor or something to get their own box and have something that they can use completely carefree about the data. And also for you as the intermediary to be completely carefree about, Spencer's got his own box and he did his own thing and I just get a feed from him. I don't need to worry about whether his phone got lost or, you know, somebody crashed into this or did this. Okay. So the answer is sort of yes and no, but that's my idea, is that in the model I'm showing here, this would be great for getting participants who are submitting and benefiting from direct use of the devices themselves. Okay. And what I'm also suggesting here is that this is a way for me to shift some of the focus into something that would be more globally appealing. For example, I've had several of you, and I appreciate you greatly for this, sign up already for this model here, which is something along the lines of a VIP setup. And then we have some arrangement, maybe it's slightly different than this, but there's a monthly arrangement or a per client arrangement. This is how I am able to develop not just a global tools, but to specifically service you as a client in a VIP way. I have a few other potential leads from yesterday's calls that might turn into this. I have the ability right now to deliver a whole wealth of cool stuff, but unless somebody can buy a slice of Spence for $5,000, this is the next best thing. This is like a way for me to go, well, what if a bunch of people put up $250? That way I have sort of the equivalent of the attention gathering thing, but I can also do one last part. And this is what's really cool. I want to make this fully automated as a demonstrable tool. So fully automated marketing, production, distribution to be shared. That means that I am going to be building and showing you the entire system, including the back end, front end mechanics for how I can do this nearly fully automated. And the concept in my head is if I can do that, then I've got a full thing that all of you could use, where you just bloop, drop the idea in the top and it goes off to the races with a fully functional operational thing. Good morning, Karina. Okay, let's cover a couple of these other questions. So John is just finishing up by saying, well, you can do that now. I mean, sure. One of the things that obviously is a tool is to just watch this. Okay, John, I'm going to come back to John's thing to wrap this up as an idea of building a live app. John wants to collect ideas, requests from his community for apps that he can supply in his site. Okay, we're going to come back to that in a second. Carrie has asked, what if we want the AI system in a pre-existing site of ours, not in your Rocket account? I want to be clear on this one. So I said this last week, and this is a really good question. It's an important one. Steve Jobs may have been a lot of things, but he was smart about one thing, even though they ultimately overcharged for the App Store. The iPhone App Store allowed anybody to make, submit, and distribute software to anybody who had an iPhone operating system and iPhone. They charged, unfortunately, 30% or some nonsense on top of paid apps, but the actual distribution for a free app was free. I've thought about this long and hard. I am not going to let people have the quote operating system to use independently. Why? Because that just essentially means all of my efforts will revert back to the worst common denominator of what WordPress is right now. And that's what I think was the biggest fault of what Mullenweg did. He allowed everybody and anybody to do anything they want in terms of distribution and sales and the operating system level. And now we've got bad actors like Awesome Motive, where if you buy one of their products or try one of their products, they just do unlimited amounts of naughty stuff that goes against my humanistic nature and my golden rule nature. So you will always have access to anything created, even if you or your clients are using the hosted thing. But the hosting part is part of it because that's what enables me to control many aspects of this business, including the instant distribution, including the licensing, including a lot of stuff without me breaking open source. The only way that I can do that is by saying you don't get to use this piece of software. It's not being distributed out into the public open source. The rest of it is, and everything it runs is on WordPress. There really is no downside to this though, because I'm taking what's a $30 retail. Let's just be clear here. It's Rocket. If your clients went to Rocket and wanted a site, it's $30 a month. Okay. I'm offering that essentially for $10 a cost to me. I'm offering it for $25 a month with the AI built in. Okay. The agency hosting is $100 a month for 10 sites. I'm offering that to you at essentially the same cost, but instead of doing one site, you're getting 10 at $29.70 instead of 10 sites at $9.70. Your comment follow-up is probably where the question lies. What is the solution? Migrate to, yes, that's exactly right. Any client that you want on this, you just move it over. You know how long it takes? 6 minutes using Prime Mover, or Rocket will move it. But Prime Mover, I take client sites from anywhere, I zip it up, I put it over there. Every time it works. So yeah, thank you. That was the question I was hoping you would say. Okay. As far as this, Dr. Krieger, there's nothing to say about this. This is we all know what I don't even know if I can copy. How do I copy this? I don't think I can copy that many words. But we all know that the AIs can do crazy, amazing stuff with making a product, right? So if I said to it, look, make an example product for WooCommerce about an embroidered handbag, cotton, handmade in Thailand, metallic Lurex fabric renowned for its shimmering effect. We all know that it can take that and get an image and do the, I mean, there's nothing about this that the AI can't do. So the question you're having is, could it make the product? And the answer is yes. What I'm saying is, if I build the semantical engine or that tool, I'm just trying to make it so that it essentially does this without too much hassle. Hold on one second. What I'm saying is I could do this as part of a tool that just doesn't require you to go outside or copy and paste and stuff. And I think that's the ultimate benefit here, right? So what we're talking about is something that when this, let's say, MinuteLaunch interface is done, you could come in and either use AI and say, I want an embroidered handbag, cotton, whatever, or you could just paste in the description here. But what it avoids, and this is the big part, I think the important thing is this. It avoids having to go into the product side, if I can find it. And I'm, by the way, this is not Spence who's done 8 trillion things this way. This is the client who's done this for the first time. It avoids that person having to go in and try to figure out which menus they have to click in this whole thing. There's the block menu. There's the product meta boxes. There's an infinite array of them. There's the product data tabs with an infinite array of choices. Imagine your 82-year-old mother coming in and trying to figure out how to set up all of these options. I believe that I spend somewhere between 6 to 10 minutes with every person every time trying to explain even what this does, let alone trying to set it up. So we get rid of all of this in favor of just a simple remote control that's either tell it what you want or paste in like 4 fields. And I think that's ultimately the goal here, because that will, in my mind, give us a unique tool that works with any product that's available through the various things on the site. And it becomes like now a tool that the other tools can use. Okay. John wanted this idea. I'm going to do this as a going away present. Let's make an app from scratch. I normally would use my robotic factory, but since I want you to see this, I'm just going to go ahead and let's use, by the way, ChatGPT today came out with version 5.0. Holy crap. This thing is crazy town. This is like this close to AGI, which means it might be all over for us, but let's do this. Create a single file WordPress plugin that allows me to collect ideas and requests from my community for applications that I can supply in my site. I happen to be in the business of fractional CMOs. Make it super simple, very lightweight. Don't add any extra icons or crazy flourishes. So keep it monochromatic, make it mobile responsive, and all on a single page. So the idea is it has a custom post type on the back end, but on the front end, it's really able to set up everything for me as the administrator. And also when somebody is logged in as a user, they can submit ideas, and there should be ranking and voting and all the stuff that dynamically shows all in one page, but it has buttons at the top that allow us to configure things. Now, that was like, blah, 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 blah. That's not necessarily how I talk. I mean, on dates, I talk like that. But one of the things my robotic factory has that I don't have here is it has all those things already built in as rules. So I'm able to get the robotic factory in my desktop that uses cursor to make things with like 2 words instead of vomiting up all that stuff. Okay. So this is creating the plugin. It has a shortcode of CMO ideas. I did this with Dr. Krieger, freaked me out. Now I did his with my robotic factory. I'm doing this on the chance that ChatGPT is going to do a good job, because 5.0 so far looks like it's crazy town. Let's also do this. Well, that's spitting it out. Hang in there. We're almost there. By the way, I want to wish a very happy birthday to my brother, Vince DePinto, 60 years old today, 60 years young. We were just talking this morning. It's hard to believe that one of my favorite people in the world is 60, because I'm 58 and a half. It's sort of like a mirror, but happy birthday, Vince. Vince will be showing up on the show in the future with his graphical arts capabilities. Yes, the ChatGPT 5 so far I've been using, it is crazy. Anyway, the varying degrees of spitting this out, maybe it takes my factory a minute or so. It was probably the same here, but I'm 99% sure. When I say brother, I mean brother in spirit. He's not legally my brother, but we've literally known each other since we were born, which is really crazy. And he and his brother Mike are like my real brothers. Okay. Let's see. Come on. Finish up ChatGPT. By the way, while that's doing that, in the meantime, some of the kind of fun, cool stuff that I've been having with this is that even like the link page, I don't think I showed you guys this last Friday. As a business model, let's say you've got clients who want one-page sites, or they just want to have something in your domain and they want to be able to customize it. This is a knockoff of Linktree, including the business model, so that anybody can instantly create a custom Linktree page or link page on your site, which means that now, let's say you have a business directory like John, they can all have their credentials and whatever, and we can have custom templates and all the rest of the stuff. And they can essentially build something within your domain. See, mine is called Spence, that links to whatever they want. This could have custom fields. It could have products that they sell. It could have informational feeds. But the idea is we can knock off the whole idea of Linktree and just do it internally. And as simple as that, you've got this as an app. It even has this dynamic live preview. So if we do, like, for example, we want to show like a custom image on the background, I can choose from the media library which background image I want to use. Let's use this wonderful, lovely, relaxing beach scene. And I could change the initial things, drag and drop functionality. This is a dream come true. This is an application ready to go that you can offer. So for sale or for free, any of the people on your site can have their own page in your domain. Notice it breaks out all of the stuff under the hood. There's still cadence running here, but we do not care because this can either be framed in cadence or just run like an app. And then when somebody's off the page, they come back to the main screen. Let's see if our go away present is done. Okay, it's done, which is awesome. I didn't tell it, which I normally would have, to create a full documentation, settings tab, all that stuff, but we just need to do CMO ideas. So let's, first of all, let's take this. Now, I am using right now the Fluent snippets, but I could use the new tool, which is the manager, to install that. That's where it's ultimately going. But for right now, I'm just going to do this in Fluent snippets. It was Adam Sandler in that image, yes. It's kind of family resemblance, but no, I'm not related to Adam Sandler. Okay, we make a new snippet. And what I like to do is I paste it in the snippet for now. And in my new model, I'll show you how that would work. It would be even easier. CMO ideas. This becomes the target page name. Let's see if it works without breaking. See, it broke. So this is where sometimes having the tool set up is better. My factory doesn't tend to break because it knows what's going on. This one is like, well, and plus I'm not 100% sure. I've been using Sonnet 4 for most of my coding. I have the Pro Max plan, which is $200 a month or something through Cursor. It works really well. ChatGPT 5 I've not used enough to know if it's actually working, but let's see if it fixes it. And I'm going to say, by the way, I'm running this in Fluent snippets, so maybe that is relevant. And I say, please give me the full code file back. This is very fast when I do this in my engine because it's desktop. So it just goes. When I do it through a chat interface, it's like a walkie-talkie. It sort of has to reprint the whole thing, which, you know, it's not the end of the world, but sometimes it's a little slower. One of the other neat things about this is that with this new system, with behind the scenes with this plugin tester, it'll have the ability to, and already does, to merge with tools like CodeBox or something else. So like on this other site where I've got it set up, I've got this tool called CodeBox. So here's a plugin that I was writing for Anne. If I want, I can download it, save it to server, edit it. If I edit it, I've just immediately got the ability to, you know, see the code, and I can either load it into my local IDE, which is that little editor screen, or I can open it in CodeBox. And the point is that for you or somebody else who's making stuff, you're not going to have to need to code, but you're going to have to maybe at least be familiar with the idea of a plugin is a bunch of stuff. because this is the only way for us to get the tools at the moment to deliver to us what we need. I mean, we have to tell it what to give us in the form of code. But since we're working with WordPress, we can have a format called a plugin that it understands. And we don't have to invent that from scratch. And we don't have to set up independent servers. And we don't have to worry, like right now, if something doesn't work here, unlike a Vibe coded app, we can fix it easily because it's based upon all of the underlying metaphors in the framework of WordPress. When we do Vibe coding stuff, like I've been doing with Julie Clark, the problem was that it's in a bunch of languages using a bunch of rando stuff that I have no idea what it did or why it did it or how to fix it in the future. Whereas with WordPress, I've already got these mechanics really sorted out. And that's kind of neat. So let's see if we get lucky with this. And if we don't, we'll just do a plan B, because the beauty of this is that it's not like a hard idea. I just gave it some really cool functionality that if it works, is going to be like, holy mackerel, I can't believe it did that on the second try. You know, the idea of having faceted search and voting and, you know, login and all that crazy stuff, that wouldn't have been easy to do otherwise. While that's working, just as a simple version, I'm going to open up over here. I think I can do 2 at a time. This thing was so crazy because, well, there's 2 things that work. First of all, you saw last week the flow. But like, as far as doing stuff, the models or the examples they've got for this that I saw were crazy. Give me a model of a working Rubik's Cube with full function in screen and 9 per side. Okay, I saw this in one of the videos. This can make working demonstrable stuff in screen, dashboards, everything else. So one of the things that I think I'm going to see if it's possible, there's a company called Metoric, he's a pal of mine, Bryce, who does a great thing with WooCommerce. Okay, WooCommerce and Metoric, it's going to install a couple JavaScript extensions in Chrome. Metoric is what allows us to talk to WooCommerce and get that crazy reporting. But ChatGPT is able to make these dynamic dashboards. I'm about 90% sure I'll be able to emulate what Metoric does in dashboard, which will give us this really crazy ability to see what people are doing, how they're doing it with regard to sale of products and so forth. Okay, so I got ChatGPT working in 2 screens. This is not as good as my desktop model because it doesn't have the speed and the other continuity. But let's see if we get lucky. I just really want to wrap up on a high note today. Feeling groovy. Okay. CMO board ideas. Imagine your client says, oh, John, I really wish I had an application for my business that did this. And you go, I know a way for that to happen. And if they asked around in the real world, it would be 10, 20, 50, 100, $200,000. You go, let's talk to the guy who runs this stuff for the company, Spence. And I can often say it's $5,000. I could say it's $50. I don't know. It depends on what they want to build. But what I'm saying is, imagine where all of these requests can happen, because now I have like a factory of robots to make it. Okay, it's run. Now remember the instructions it gave me. One of the things is that there's a shortcode, right? I would normally tell it to make what we call an endpoint, which is to make a page. But in this case, I'm going to just surprise myself. And I'm going to go ahead and make the page manually. And I'll put the short code in there. This is kind of like Star Trek's 3D printer, where I go, make me a blankety blank. You know, I'm hungry. Okay. CMO. I forgot what the name of the thing was. CMO ideas. I got so distracted. CMO ideas. And I'm not even doing any styling. I'm just going to put a short code in. And then what I like to do, because it's still cadence under the hood, is I'm just disabling everything and making it full width. That's another thing that I'll probably do, is I'll just have a default for all the applications that they just go full width. Why not? Okay. Now, if we go here, we should see something. Oh, pretty crazy. The buttons are white on white. So I'm not going to stop for that, but I would say buttons are white on white. Can you please make it that the buttons at least have color and outlines so that we can see them on a white screen? Okay. So while it's fixing that, let's just do two things. First of all, what I would do is I would take this and I would turn it into an app, right? And you've seen me do that. So I would go on the back end and this would be part of the automated process, but I might as well do it. First, I'm going to get an icon. Okay. And for that, I go and I grab one out of the media library from the scraping. So I go to media noun project. Let's get Anne's thing off the screen there. And I just go ideas. And I want to look for an icon that's publicly domain safe to use, bold, line style, search. I'm sure it's going to question my, oh, bright ideas. There we go. So import to media library. So it's available to me, right? Now I just go ahead and I make the application. So, and again, plugin interface, add new app. I think I'll make this all one step. CMO ideas. URL, ideas, voting, idea voting, probably. Okay. And then I want to, if we had an admin side, I'm not sure if we do, I'm going to load that. And we're going to use the featured image icon that we just picked up. Creative Commons safe. Okay. Let's check it out. So now we've got our app here. As fast as that. These buttons, we will be fixed if this code is done. It keeps giving me the CSS. I'm not going to bother with that, but give me full file, please. It hates giving me the full file because it's trying to be economical, but let's just try this. We've got, it says here, I can do a quick fix on that. Let me just make the color there. Background color will make like something. Let's just make all of these buttons. We'll make them all of a background that I can see. There we go. The magic of knowing how to use the console. So top, new, mine, all, open, plan. These are just filters, right? So let's, John. Oops. I have an idea about, and then I go, who put the bomb on the bomb shabomb shabomb? Who put the dang and the dang and the dang the dang? That's an idea. Let's see if it works. Okay. We've got a thing, and these button colors will be helpful. If we get this new file, I'll put this in. So it'll change the colors, but it's working, which is awesome. It looks like it's a much smaller file. I'm concerned. Well, let's just try it. Maybe it did it. Let's see if that did what we needed to do, by the way. And then we'll come back and we'll add another entry. But that's it. Like, holy crap. Can you imagine how amazing this is going to be when everything and anything that you guys want to have built now runs? Think about this compared to WordPress right now. How many plugins do you have to install? How many things conflict with other things? How many times do you bang your head on the wall because you spend all day working on the cadence thing or this? Now I've got a factory that's printing 3D stuff that runs on your whatever. See, it broke the shit out of there. So this is where having my continuity that broke things. The continuity is important. What I would do with this one is, again, normally I'll just copy the original one or restore it. Normally I have the methods in place where as I edit it, I don't have to worry because I have that versioning, right, of Fluent snippets. And in this case, I probably do, I probably don't. I need to get just the version 2. In this one, by the way, I'm just talking out loud. In this one, it doesn't have versionings. In Claude, it has versionings, which is kind of cool because I can always easily go back to where I had the thing that functioned. This is a little bit more of a hot mess, but I don't develop here, so it makes no difference. I'm going to need it to give me back the full file. Hold on. Let's see if it did. And then I'll wrap it up because I know you guys are very patiently hanging loose with me. Let's see if it's done. And our final ta-da will be that. Okay, so this is the final version of it. Oh, it's still writing it. Hold on. So while it's doing that, I'm going to wrap it up. I want to say, I'm going to send out to all of you guys a landing page over the weekend that's going to have the sales. One of the things I should mention, by the way, is Dr. Krieger was like, really? Is that I'm creating all of the content for myself already automatically, right? So for example, the sales pages and so forth, I'm not making the sales pages. I'm doing this all automatically. In fact, this is why it's a product. The plugin that I'm offering to you, this deal, is being created in my factory. And in my factory, it's creating the sales pages while it's making the product. Follow along with me. Here is a new product, okay? The MinuteLaunch Ai. If we preview this, Spence is not writing the sales page, but it looks just like I made it in Cadence. The factory knows what features it's building in, and I told it what to say in metaphors. It's writing the sales page. So my tools will make a sales page like this that will be updated, that will show this offer and all the details, partially from this phone, this Zoom call. It will be available, and I'll send it out to you and everybody. What I want all of you to do is to take it and pay me $250. Yes, because for the next year, that's going to be a club into which you and I and anybody and everybody you know, including your clients, should go, because it will allow to do kind of what John's idea is here with a voting engine. Okay. And in doing so, every day my tool will take the top thing. It will make, it's still writing the plugin. It will make the plugins, launch the plugins, distribute the plugins, make content about the plugins. And I will probably pop in on a lot of those YouTube videos myself in order to comment. And at the end, we will, at the end of this year, if we're still on planet Earth, have some crazy things to talk about. That's what my feeling is. But I need you guys to participate here at this level. Okay. It made in black and white, which I love it. But check this out. Okay. Let's make another idea. Idea number 2, something even better than idea 1. It's for a decorative handbag made out of silk and other stuff from Malaysia, and it's gorgeous, or whatever Dr. Krieger was telling me. I forgot. Embroidered handbag, cotton handbag made in Thailand. Okay. So what do I got? I've got 2 ideas. I can vote. And when I vote and I refresh the page, that number 1 should float to the top. Right? And it does. I can see new ideas, my ideas, all open, planned, in progress. I can search, right? Handbag. It's faceted search. It's filtered. It's done. We just made our first product, everybody, and we did it without you paying me $250. Yes, holy moly is right. So this is now going to become an official product inside of this thing, which means that, John, congratulations. You just proven to me and everybody else why this is great. Instead of me selling you this app, you have $250 into this. You now have the app that you basically need. And if you say, here's the other details you want it tweaked, you could tweak it, I could tweak it, anybody can tweak it. What do you mean? You will be able to take the code of this thing from this particular participatory level and do whatever you want with it, because I do not care. If you are in this club, you will get the ideas and the output, and then you can take those code snippets and run with them. Why? How? Well, remember I was just telling you that I have this plugin tester. It gives me a distribution model. Check this out. Okay. Let's do, by the way, I can do this by using a Chrome extension. Oh, you guys can't see the Chrome extension. I have a Chrome extension that launches that lets you upload stuff, but we can also use the tool itself to create the tool. So let's go over my other site here where I've got a working version of this that you can see. If I go into the plugin tester, if I started with, let's say I use the nutrition tracker, right? I can upload this new file, which is the CMO thing, into it, and I can bundle it into a zip file to distribute to you or anyone else. But probably I'm going to take it a step further. Instead of it being a zip file, it's going to be a peer-to-peer delivery system. So see where it says download zip? I could just bundle it and download it. I have a zip file ready to go. Wouldn't it be cool instead if you were connected to me through the peer-to-peer network using my own tools here, and you could just go get it from hello, something that's like an app store, right? It's just, there's a screen. I want that. Pulls it into your device. Because that's the way they already figured out how to do it a billion years ago. We don't have to reinvent the wheel on this. So I've now got something that I'm pretty chuffed about because I didn't really think this was going to happen so fast on so many levels. Let's zoom that out a bit. But right now, let's see if it stays locked in. And it does. Right now, notice I'm looking for my my inserts. And then I go back and I'm feeling like if you're trying to get to the site I gave you, you're not going to have a good lookout because you're not logged in as an admin. So I told you can probably see some of this stuff, but you're not an admin. This is just a throwaway Insta WP site that I'm using to test stuff. I'm going to be putting these together in the official thing over the weekend that will also have the pay the $250 and get in. It'll probably be at MinuteLaunch. Oh, we have our first buyer. Thank you, whoever that was. Maybe that's John. So the idea is I'm going to go to MinuteLaunch, this site that I've had sitting here doing nothing. And this is going to be where I'm going to probably use the distribution network. It'll have the store, the shop. It'll have all the goodies because I'm trying to essentially take the launch brands and everything else and make it into MinuteLaunch, as I hopefully have been doing. Okay. You guys are fabulous. I love your inspiration. I love your friendship. I love your patronage. I'm super duper excited. That was John. Thank you, John. High fives. You're always a good sport about this anyway. The rest of you want to do it. I know you have other ideas in mind. Support the cause. I've been here for you the whole time. Let's get you and your clients into this thing. So when I get this page going, I want you in there because that's a year, 250 plus applications, the whole framework. You can help build it and your votes will count. So thanks to John for that great idea. Thanks to the rest of you for your support. I love you guys all. Hope you have a great weekend, and summer is almost over. I hate to say that, but my son is back from camp and I'm loving where we're at right now, right before the fall kicks in. Enjoy. Talk to you soon.